So, about an hour ago, I finished up my first playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I thought it would only be fitting to do one final video giving my thoughts on the game now that I've rolled credits. I have seen the story through to completion. I have not done everything in the game. Don't get this twisted. I have not done all the shrines. I have not done all the side quests, but I have seen the main story through to the end, done every main story quest. Let's get into this. Alright, so yeah, I wanted to do one final video talking about this game before release. This will probably be the last one for a while. You know, once Caleb does his full playthrough, I'm sure we'll do some sort of discussion on the game, maybe go in depth with the lore, but this will be it for a while. Of course, I'll talk about it on the podcast on Friday, but I wanted to do one final video now that I've beaten the game and give what will essentially be my review. Here's the thing with Tears of the Kingdom. I love this game. It's honestly, you know, maybe it's that honeymoon phase that is definitely a thing. Recency bias is definitely a thing. But right now, I know this game is better than Breath of the Wild. If you think Breath of the Wild is your favorite Zelda game, this game is better. If you don't like Breath of the Wild, then maybe you won't love this game like I do. But I already love Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was already my favorite, if not my, you know, maybe second favorite Zelda game. And this is a simply better game in almost every aspect. And I say almost because I can't think of any aspect right now. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I'm pretty sure every aspect is improved on. This game is a masterpiece. And, you know, I'm not trying to hype you up too much or anything. I'm just talking honestly with you. I think this game is fantastic. But, like I said, maybe it's the honeymoon phase. Maybe in a year or two, maybe 5 years from now, I'll view it a little differently. Maybe I won't think it's better than Wind Waker, which is my other favorite Zelda game. Maybe I'll, you know, Link's Awakening is also up there and, you know, these other games. But Tears of the Kingdom is nothing short of incredible. I'm very excited to see reviews, which I think we'll be posting it tomorrow to see where this lands on Metacritic. I'm expecting a lower review score for this game than Breath of the Wild, just because Breath of the Wild was this entirely new experience, and Tears of the Kingdom is more Breath of the Wild. For a lot of people, I think that's going to be an issue. I get it. Some people don't like shrines. Some people don't like divine beasts. I get it. They don't like the open world Zelda. If you don't like Breath of the Wild, you're probably not going to like this game. But for the vast majority of Zelda fans who love Breath of the Wild, you are in for an absolute treat of a video game. So, as with all these videos, I won't be talking about story spoilers, but I do want to talk about some story stuff, and I also will be talking about some gameplay elements that Nintendo has not revealed. I will be talking about the replacements for Divine Beasts, I will be talking about the replacements for Shrines, and I will be talking about parts of the map that Nintendo has not revealed. So if you're uncomfortable with those gameplay elements, click off the video. I do not blame you, I do not begrudge you, but I just want to lay that down here, as I have with all my videos, so you know what you're getting into with this video. So let's actually start with the story. This is something I have not talked about very much in these videos that I've been doing, all these impressions, because I've been trying to stay as cool as possible about it. Because I didn't want to rank it fully without finishing it. The ending of a story is so important that I didn't feel comfortable talking about Tears of the Kingdom story, but until I finished it. And once again, no spoilers. I would need to go back and replay, you know, Wind Waker, and, well, Breath of the Wild is definitely not up there for story. You know, Wind Waker especially, and Link's Awakening, and, you know, some of these other Zelda games, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, all have incredible stories. Tears of the Kingdom is definitely up there. In my opinion, it has the best opening and ending to any Zelda game. Everything in between, maybe not as strong as some other games, but I would probably put this at the top of my list in terms of Zelda stories. As far as characters go, as far as story beats go, they do something that I know people are going to be complaining about. I'm not going to say what. When it comes to the story structure, I can already tell you people are not going to be happy about that. I'm personally fine with it. I think it fits the story well, but I know people are going to be unhappy with how certain aspects of it are structured. But I can tell you this. The opening 30 minutes of this game are the best opening minutes of any Zelda game. And the ending, let's say hour, however long it takes you to do the final fight, of course, which I won't spoil what that is. The ending of this game is so good. I've seen some people actually saying they don't love the ending. I think it's fantastic, personally. It's certainly better than Breath of the Wild's final boss, I'll tell you that much. And just the ending cutscene and everything that happens anyway is so good. It is so stinking good. I love the story. I love the characters. I think the cast of characters here, and I mean, they really haven't revealed anybody in this game pre-release, is awesome. There's going to be fan favorites in here. There's new characters, there's old characters returning from Breath of the Wild, as we know. Fantastic set of characters. Something else I have not talked about very much in these videos is the music. This game's soundtrack is the best of both worlds. A lot of people weren't happy with Breath of the Wild's ambient soundtrack, and I understand that. I totally get it. I personally didn't have an issue with it. I like the ambient noises that you're riding on your horse or you're fighting an enemy, and I like that game's soundtrack. But I get why people didn't. This game has the best of both worlds. It has that ambient soundtrack. It has new tracks for ambient settings. It has new tracks just for general stuff. But specifically, those awesome themes that The Legend of Zelda is known for, it has those. The boss battles in this game, it ain't no blights this time. Trust me. The boss themes in this game are fantastic. And certain areas have fantastic new themes as well. The music in this game, the soundtrack, the OST, it's really, really good. Let's talk about bosses for a little bit. Not spoiling what they are, of course. The boss variety, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, because I have talked about this in some other videos. The bosses in this game are fantastic. Specifically, I want to shout out the one for the section of the story that involved the Rito. I think that boss is probably the best in the game. If maybe, at least out of like the normal bosses, right? Final boss, that's a whole nother discussion that gets ranked differently. But for like the regular bosses, the boss related to the Rito storyline is fan-freaking-tastic. Really good. Once again, great music there as well. Maybe I'll do like a bosses ranked video type thing once more people have played the game. But yeah, the bosses in this game are very good, very unique, varied. They have more traditional elements that you would expect from a Zelda game in terms of what you need to do to beat them, while still incorporating that open, emergent gameplay experience that Breath of the Wild is known for, with Tears of the Kingdom's new abilities, with Fuse and Ultra Hand and Ascend and Recall. Something I want to say about Recall really quickly, or about the abilities, is that Recall is so underrated. I saw someone did a poll. I think it was Nintentalk. I saw on his channel he did a community post with a poll, and it was asking, which ability are you most excited for? And Recall only had like 2% of the vote. Recall, when actually used in puzzles, in shrines, and just in the world, even just using them to get up to a Sky Island, as we saw in Aonuma's gameplay demonstration, is one of the coolest things I've seen. Fuse is a technical marvel. The fact that you can fuse any two weapons together, or any two objects together, is incredible. And it adds so much variety, and it adds so much fun, just seeing what you can make, putting the famous meat arrow, right? Fantastic. Ultra Hand is really cool, building these vehicles, which at the start, it took me a while to get used to, I won't lie, but as I played more of the game, as the shrine started incorporating them more, I really got used to it, and I really started to like it, especially once I unlocked the auto build ability, which lets you just plop down a creation that you've already done before without having to actually finagle with it. But the recall ability is so interesting, and this goes with Ascend as well, but mostly recall, it's like if there's one criticism of Breath of the Wild, it's that it's not like a typical Zelda game, right? A lot of people don't like how it's this open world game. It doesn't have traditional, dungeon items and all that. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. Recall is like the best of both worlds, where it when used in the right context and in the right puzzle, it feels like a regular Zelda puzzle. Because, in general, because of these two new abilities, Ascend and Recall specifically, because of those two abilities, these shrines and the puzzles and just the design of them all, it all works so much better than Breath of the Wild. I love Stasis and Magnesis. I think solving puzzles with those is a lot of fun, but the satisfaction you get from solving a puzzle with Recall and Ascend again it feels like a regular Zelda puzzle, which I know a lot of people are going to be happy about. At least that's the way I felt about it. Those two abilities don't feel like Breath of the Wild abilities. Ultra Hand and Fuse are so endless in possibility that they make sense in this context of Breath of the Wild gameplay. But Recall is in particular something that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. It's a really, really cool ability. And in general, all four abilities that you start out with within the tutorial area, right, are really good. I like all four of them. I think they're all four really cool. Honestly, and this is going to sound crazy, if anything, I think Fuse, despite being so impressive because of how much potential it has, in terms of just raw gameplay, is probably the least interesting, which is insane to say, because I think Fuse is infinitely interesting, but the other three, in terms of puzzle design, lend themselves so well to shrines and, like I said, just puzzle design as a whole. So the abilities are fantastic. This video is already almost 10 minutes. I don't want to go on for too long, but let's talk about the open world again. I've talked about this before in the other videos. The open world in this game is great. It is for the most part, you'll be exploring the Breath of the Wild map. You'll be seeing towns that were in Breath of the Wild upgraded and you know, revised with new characters in them, new storylines, new dialogue and all that, new housing and these kinds of things. But it is going to be a familiar experience, and I know a lot of people are going to have an issue with that as well. But Breath of the Wild was 6 years ago, and I just replayed it back in April. I'm going to be honest, they added so much stuff to this map that most parts of it feel unrecognizable. Certain areas have new outposts or structures or holes that go underground. The caves that they added add so much to exploration. Obviously, the shrines are all in, well, at least some of them are in new spots. There are some shrines that are just literally plopped where an old shrine was, right? As we saw in the trailer. But I don't have an issue with them reusing this map. They added enough story to it, and side quests, and character, and all these things that the content within the map is what matters, and they absolutely, without a doubt, delivered. Like I said, I've done the main story now, but there are still 60 plus shrines I need to do, a ton of side quests, a ton of side content that I just haven't even touched yet, and I'm excited to go back and playing after I make this video. This game is absolutely massive. It took me about 50 hours to beat, but I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface. So to call this a review is a little, I don't want to call it that because I don't feel like I've experienced the full weight of this game, but just in terms of main story, I wanted to get a video out and talk about that. Because not everybody's going to do all that extra content, but just know it is there. This game is absolutely massive. It is dense. If you were one of the people that thought Breath of the Wild felt empty, this game does not feel empty. I can already tell, based on the way I'm talking, I know I'm going to get comments saying like, oh, so it is glorified DLC. No, it is absolutely not. Yes, it is true. The majority of your playtime will be spent on the base map that they have reused from Breath of the Wild. However, like I said, they added a ton of stuff to it, but there are the Sky Islands, which, you know, there are certain segments where they make you go through there for story stuff, but there's a ton of just optional ones. You know, the labyrinths that we've seen floating in the sky, the little Death Star, the cubes, those are all there, and there's just a ton of stuff to explore there, and that's not even talking about the underground, which, once again, like with yesterday's video, I haven't explored a ton. You know, I've done some side quests, I've done some exploring, but I haven't lit up even probably 30% of the underground yet, which Nintendo never even revealed, and that's a huge part of the game. It literally is the entire Breath of the Wild map, but underground. It is that same size. It is huge. It is massive, and I mentioned yesterday I'm a little worried about how much content is actually there. I am still a little worried to see how dense it is, but even if it's just pretty much bare minimum, you go around, you light it up, you do a couple side quests, and you collect, well, there's a different kind of collectible down there. Even if it's just that, just the amount of content from the sky to the base map to the underground, this game is just beaming with content. It is absolutely massive. It is probably the biggest open world game I've ever played, at least just in terms of raw map space, which maybe that isn't a metric that should matter, but the density is there as well. The density of the content, how much is in this map, is there as well. So it's really something impressive, I have to say. Of course, I'm excited to keep talking about this game as the months pass, as more people get their hands on it and we play it and we dissect the story and I dissect all the side quests. Of course, I'm going to be posting a ton of videos and the tutorial type videos. I've been prepping those in the background as we get closer to launch here in a couple days. But above all else, I love this game, and I'm excited to see what other people think. I mean, it's weird. I have the game early, obviously. So it's weird kind of being on the outside, not getting that perspective, not hearing what other people think. But I can tell you right now, me, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know my video game taste. This game is nothing short of a masterpiece. It is probably my favorite Zelda game. I don't want to commit to that because that is a severe statement to make. But it is probably my favorite Zelda game, if not my favorite, then my second favorite, because it is simply fantastic. I don't know how else to say it, man. I feel like I'm just geeking out right now. It's, you know, trying to put my words in order, but this game is really something special, and I'm excited for everybody to play it on Friday or Thursday night, depending on where you live, because it's good. And especially the story. I really think people are going to be surprised by the story with how fast it gets started and how and the ending. Oh, it's so freaking good, man. I'll especially be excited to do like a story spoiler discussion with someone once another person that I know has beaten the game, because I think there's a lot to dissect there. It's a really, really good story, so I'm excited for people to look into that. I know a lot of people like the Zelda story. For me, Zelda story, honestly, it's usually like the back burner thing. In this game, it feels almost front and center, you know, at least compared to other Zelda games. So it's really good stuff. I'm rambling at this point. I'm going to end it here. I don't want this video to go too long. I've done plenty of impression videos. If you want to hear more thoughts on this game, I did a video yesterday. After 40 hours of playtime, I did a video a couple days ago. After 20 hours of playtime, this will be the final one for now. But I really do appreciate the support on all these videos, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this game on Friday. Until next time, folks, subscribe here so you don't miss a single Tears of the Kingdom upload. Follow me on Twitter at BotoxGames, and until next time, peace.